A woman walking home on a rainy afternoon spots a German Shepherd limping down the road. Her belly is swollen. She's clearly pregnant. And yet she's dragging a large, filthy bag behind her. People pass. No one stops. But this woman does. And when she opens that bag, her life, her heart, and everything she thought she knew changes forever. Because what was inside wasn't trash. It was something only a mother would fight to save. Before we begin, subscribe, hit like, and turn on notifications. This story will remind you, love doesn't always look clean or easy. Sometimes it crawls, bleeding, and still it holds on. The rain had been falling for hours. Clara gripped her coat tighter around her shoulders as she made her way home from her late shift at the animal clinic. Her boots splashed through puddles on the sidewalk, her backpack growing heavier with each step. She was 2 blocks from her building when she saw it. At first, she thought it was trash. A large, misshapen bag being dragged across the sidewalk, slowly, clumsily, through the mud. But then it moved again, and she froze. It wasn't a bag. It was a German Shepherd, thin, soaked, limps in both hind legs. Her belly sagged low, round with pregnancy, and clenched in her jaws, gripped tightly, despite the effort it took, was the strap of an old duffel bag, soaked, heavy, torn in several places. Clara blinked. The dog took another step, then collapsed, right there on the pavement. People passed. One man stepped over the rope and didn't even look. A woman on her phone glanced briefly and kept walking. Clara didn't. She ran. Kneeling beside the dog, her heart thudding, she reached out slowly. "Hey, hey, I'm not going to hurt you." The shepherd lifted her head. Her eyes were tired, clouded, but they held something fierce, not aggression, not fear, determination. Clara gently placed a hand on her neck. She felt bones, skin over muscle, and her fur, matted with blood. "Oh, God." She looked at the duffel bag. "What are you carrying?" The dog whined, then nudged the bag forward with her nose. Clara unzipped it slowly. Inside were 3 tiny puppies, curled in a blanket that was barely warm, eyes shut, breathing shallow. One let out a soft squeak. Clara gasped. "You brought them with you?" The dog tried to stand, failed. She looked up at Clara again, and with a soft grunt, lowered her head. She had made it. Barely. Clara didn't think. She took off her coat, wrapped it around the mother dog, lifted the duffel as carefully as she could, and called a cab. When she got to the clinic, it was closed. But she had keys, and no matter what the rules said, there was no way she was going to let this family die. As she laid the shepherd down on a warm towel, connected an IV, and began warming the puppies, she whispered, "You're safe now." The dog looked up at her, blinking slowly. And for the first time in what must have been days, she closed her eyes and slept. The clinic was quiet, except for the rhythmic beep of the heart monitor. Clara sat on a stool beside the exam table, her phone lighting up with missed calls and unanswered messages. She didn't care. Her entire world was now centered on the battered body of the German Shepherd resting on the heated pad, an IV line taped to her leg, her breathing shallow but steady. The puppies were tucked into a warmed incubator. They had made it through the night. Barely, but alive. Clara had stayed awake, feeding them by dropper every 2 hours, rubbing their tiny chests to keep them from slipping into cold stillness. They whimpered, fought, and latched. Fighters, just like their mother. But there was something else. The mother hadn't made a sound. Not a growl, not a whimper, not even a sigh of relief. Clara had seen countless dogs in survival mode, but this was different. This dog wasn't just silent. She was watching. Every movement Clara made, every time she approached the incubator, those tired amber eyes followed. Not with distrust, but with something deeper. A question. Will you protect them? Like I did? Clara reached over and stroked her head. I don't know your name, but I know what you are. You're a mother. That's all I need to know. Later that morning, Clara called in a favor from a shelter worker she knew. A woman named Elena brought over a microchip scanner. They ran it across the shepherd's neck. A beep. Clara held her breath. The name on the screen read, Bella, registered to Miguel Alvarez, El Sur, Seville. Clara's heart sank. She recognized the name. Miguel Alvarez had been investigated 2 years ago for illegal breeding. He was never charged. Not enough proof. But local rescuers knew his name. And now Bella, pregnant, starved, injured, had crawled through the city dragging a duffel bag just to keep her babies safe. Clara looked at her again. Bella's eyes hadn't moved. Still staring. Still silent. You escaped, Clara whispered. You got away. The thought made her dizzy. How far had she come? How long had she dragged that bag? Suddenly, she understood why the mother was watching her so closely. Bella hadn't brought her puppies to safety. She had delivered them to someone else's hands. And now, she was waiting to see if Clara was worthy of trust. The door to the clinic opened. Elena peeked in. You're going to report it, right? Clara hesitated. I don't know yet. Clara, I want to get her stable first. Elena frowned. He'll be looking. If he sees that video you posted. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't even show her face. Elena nodded slowly, but Clara could feel the clock ticking. And somewhere across the city, so could someone else. The video Clara had posted was never meant to go viral. It was just a clip, less than a minute. Bella dragging the duffel through the rain, the whimpering of the puppies. A voice trembling. She brought her babies. She carried them herself. By the next morning, it had 28,000 views. By the afternoon, it had over 100,000. Clara's inbox exploded with messages. Most were from kind strangers. Tell me where to donate. I want to adopt one. She's a hero. But one message stopped her cold. No name, no profile picture, just a sentence. That dog belongs to me. She stared at the screen, blood turning to ice. She looked at Bella, still resting, still silent. Clara called Elena. I think someone found her. They met that night in the clinic. We can't let him take her, Elena said immediately. We'll hide her, transfer her to a secure shelter. I'm not sure she'll survive the move. She's still so weak. Then we buy time. You know how to play this?" Clara did. She'd helped with rescues before. She knew how to stall, how to demand a warrant, how to insist on medical quarantine. But she also knew what men like Miguel were capable of. He'd already proven it, by what he'd done to Bella. And that bag, it haunted Clara. She'd opened it again that morning. Under the blanket where the puppies had been, there were old towels, dried food crumbs, 2 torn toys, and something she hadn't seen before. A photograph, wrinkled, water-stained. It showed Bella, much younger, beside a little girl, maybe 6 years old. The girl was laughing, arms wrapped around the shepherd's neck. Clara turned it over. A handwritten note. "Para mi sol y mi sombra. Bella. Siempre juntas." For my sun and my shadow, Bella, always together. Clara looked at Bella again. She wasn't born into cruelty. She'd been loved once, maybe even rescued once before. What if she ran because she couldn't let it happen to them? Clara whispered. To the puppies? Yes. What if she remembered what it felt like and said, "Not them, not this time"? Elena's eyes welled. Clara stood. She's not just a dog. She's a mother, a survivor, and we're not going to let anyone undo what she did. Outside the clinic, headlights flashed. A dark car slowed in front of the building, watched, then drove off. Clara stepped into the hallway and locked the door. Back inside, Bella opened her eyes. Just once. Just enough. To let Clara know she saw everything. It came at 4:17 a.m. A heavy knock on the clinic door. Clara woke on the cot in the break room, heart thudding. She sat up slowly, blinking through the early gray light bleeding through the window. 3 more knocks. Louder. She grabbed her phone. No new messages. Another knock. This time a pounding. Clara stepped into the hallway and moved quietly toward the front window. She pulled the curtain back a few centimeters. A man stood there. Broad shoulders, ball cap, jacket zipped to the throat. And though she had never met him before, she knew. Miguel. Her fingers trembled as she stepped back. He knocked again, harder. "Open up," he called, voice muffled. "I'm here for my dog." Clara didn't answer. "She's mine," he said. "Got the papers to prove it." Still no answer. "You think the internet makes you a hero?" he sneered. "She's just a dog. And those puppies? I've got buyers waiting. So open the damn door before I get the police." Inside the recovery room, Bella raised her head. She struggled to her feet, legs shaking. Her puppies whimpered inside the incubator. Elena, who had been sleeping on the floor beside them, sat up. "What's going on?" "He's here," Clara said, voice flat. Elena stood. "We call the cops. We stall him." "I already called." "Good." But Clara didn't look relieved. She looked afraid. Bella stumbled toward the door of her kennel. Then she did something Clara had never seen her do. She growled, low, quiet, but real. Her body, frail as it was, positioned itself between the door and her puppies. A mother on the edge of death, ready to fight again. The police arrived 7 minutes later. Miguel tried to present paperwork. He argued. He shouted. But the moment Clara handed over the vet reports, the photos, the video, and the microchip data proving the abuse, the officers stopped listening. One of them opened the back of the patrol car. Miguel didn't resist, but his eyes never left Clara. "You think you're saving her?" he spat. "She'll never trust anyone again." Clara didn't answer, because Bella already had. After the car drove off, she opened Bella's kennel. The shepherd stepped out slowly, carefully, then pressed her head against Clara's chest. Not in fear, in thanks. Clara wrapped her arms around her. "You're safe," she whispered. "You did everything right. It's over now." In the corner, the puppies squeaked. Bella turned toward them. She walked to the incubator, and for the first time since arriving, she wagged her tail. 2 weeks had passed since Miguel was arrested. Bella was gaining weight again. Her fur was softer. Her eyes were clearer. She walked without stumbling now, slowly, carefully, but with purpose. And the puppies, they were thriving. Their eyes had opened. They squeaked and pawed at each other. One already tried to bark. Bella watched them constantly, licking their faces, gently nudging them when they wandered too far on the clinic floor. She was no longer silent. She made soft sounds now, small hums, almost melodic, comforting, mother sounds. Clara had been offered help from rescue organizations. They donated formula, bedding, even helped cover part of the vet bills. A volunteer team came by to document the case for legal protection. It felt like things were falling into place. But then came the envelope. It was delivered by hand. No return address. Just her name scrawled across the front. Inside, a copy of the same photograph she had found in the duffel bag. Only this one was clearer. The girl in the photo, 6, maybe 7, hugging Bella with a look of pure joy on her face. And behind them, a woman Clara recognized. Isabel Romero, a school teacher who'd passed away last year from cancer, beloved in the community, and known for her volunteer work rescuing abandoned dogs. Clara sat down. She stared at the photo again. It wasn't Miguel who had raised Bella. It was Isabel. She flipped the photo over. More handwriting. "If found, please care for her. She's not just a dog. She's family." Clara's breath caught. Isabel must have known her time was running out. She had written these words and tucked them away, maybe to protect Bella in case something happened. So how did Miguel end up with her? Clara called Elena. They dug into old records, made some calls, and finally pieced it together. After Isabel passed, her small home and all her belongings were cleared by the city. Some of the animals were taken to shelters. But Bella, she had vanished from the record, likely picked up by someone who saw her as valuable breeding stock. Miguel. Clara stood over Bella that night, gently stroking her fur. "You belong to someone kind," she whispered. "You were loved. You were home." Bella pressed her head into Clara's hand. That night, as the clinic lights dimmed, Clara made a decision. She wouldn't just foster Bella and her puppies. She would adopt Bella, not just to save her, but to honor where she came from. She filled out the forms the next day, and when she walked Bella into her apartment for the first time that evening, The shepherd sniffed the floor, looked at the windows, then curled up in the corner near the couch, and sighed, as if recognizing what a home was, and knowing she had finally found another one. The apartment wasn't big, but to Bella, it was a palace. There were no cages, no concrete, no harsh lights or strange smells, just warmth, sunlight through the windows, the quiet sound of Clara's voice, and, most importantly, the soft pile of blankets where her puppies now wrestled, fed, and slept curled against each other. They had names now. Milo, the boldest, Luna, the smallest and quickest, and Rio, the dreamer, always sleeping on his back, belly exposed, as if he'd never known fear. Clara tried not to get too attached, but it was impossible. Every night she sat on the floor with them. Every morning she cleaned up their messes, refilled their bowls, and let them climb all over her lap. Bella always watched, not possessively, but protectively. Her eyes had softened. She no longer flinched at loud sounds. She greeted Clara at the door with a quiet tail wag. She had finally begun to trust peace. But peace never lasts without hard choices. One afternoon, Elena came by with a folder. "It's time," she said gently. "The adoption requests came in. All three have great families lined up, vetted, safe homes, kids, gardens." Clara nodded. She knew this would come. But still, her heart sank. That night, she sat with Bella, watching the puppies sleep. "I should be happy, right?" she whispered. "They'll be loved. They'll be safe." Bella didn't move, but when Clara looked into her eyes, she saw the same thing she'd seen the night Bella had arrived, the silence of a mother who had already given everything. Clara exhaled slowly. She knew what Bella wanted, and what she didn't. 3 days later, 2 families came to meet Milo and Rio. Bella watched from the doorway. When the children approached her gently, she stepped forward, nuzzled their hands. No fear, no hesitation. She let them go, with grace. But when the 3rd family came for Luna, something changed. Bella stood in front of her, didn't growl, didn't bark, just stood. Clara knelt down. "I know," she whispered. "You're not ready to lose her." She turned to the family. "I'm so sorry. I think this one needs to stay." They understood. And so it was. Milo and Rio went to homes that sent photos weekly. First steps, first baths, first muddy disasters. And Luna stayed. Bella never left her side. But now she played, ran, barked when Luna got too rough. She was no longer just a survivor. She was a mother, still, and finally allowed to be one on her own terms. Clara watched them curled up on the balcony one evening, wind in their fur, heads pressed together. She smiled. Sometimes you save a life, and sometimes you just give it back. The apartment smelled of rain and rosemary. Clara sat by the window, watching the sky darken into soft blue dusk. Luna slept near her feet, legs twitching in a dream. Bella lay nearby, head resting gently on the edge of Clara's chair. She still didn't bark much, but she didn't need to. Her presence was full, certain. Enough. It had been nearly 2 months since Bella came into Clara's life, since she dragged her body down a sidewalk, holding onto a rope with her teeth, carrying a bag with her entire world inside. She had been skin and bone then. Now, she was solid, strong. Her coat shone golden under the window light. She was not healed from everything, but she was healing. One evening, Clara received a letter from Isabel Romero's sister. She had seen the story online, the photo Clara had shared, the one of Bella as a young dog beside a little girl, both of them laughing. Her name was Anna, the letter said. She was my niece. She passed away in 2021. Bella was her best friend. I can't believe she survived. Thank you for not letting her story end with silence. Clara placed the letter in a frame, hung it above the doorway, so Bella would always know that someone remembered who she was, before pain, before chains, before Miguel. One night, Clara took Luna and Bella to the park. It was quiet, almost empty. Luna ran through the wet grass, chasing a crumpled leaf. Bella followed, at first slowly, then with surprising speed. And for the first time, she barked, a single, sharp, joyous bark. Clara laughed. Bella stopped, looked at her, and barked again. It echoed through the trees, not as a cry for help, but as a declaration. I'm here. I lived. I'm still loving. That night, as they curled together on the couch, Clara whispered, You never asked for rescue. You just needed someone to walk beside you when you couldn't carry it alone anymore. Bella blinked slowly and rested her head on Clara's chest. No more dragging. No more begging. No more silence. Just rest. Just home. If this story moved your heart, if you believe that motherhood knows no species, and that love can survive even the worst this world throws at it, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and share it with someone who still believes in compassion. Because some mothers don't cry out loud. They carry, they bleed, they crawl, and they never stop loving.